Hi, how are you doing? Today we're going to do something a little bit different than my normal. I recently got this hair up my ass that I really wanted to try Cyberpunk again. I never felt like I gave it a fair shake, and I didn't really enjoy my time with it as much as I felt like I could have. I'm sure for many of us, the expectations that were there were different than what we got, and speaking of expectations in my other videos, I think I need to look into my own, and I know I didn't give Cyberpunk a fair shake. So I was messing with some of my settings just 2 days ago, and I figured out that there were a few on here that really ruined it for me. And I've tested and switched between a few of them, but they've all kind of come down to things that fuck with your actual vision, and things that are on your screen cause differences that you don't necessarily realize initially until you get more into the game. I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you what it looks like before we really go through the settings to see if you like it, but know that I'm going to go through all of these settings, talk through the ones I changed and what they did, and kind of give you an idea of what's going on. But first, I want to show you what it looks like.
Howdy, Night City. Welcome back.
It's going to look like Cyberpunk, make no mistake. This is the same game, but I've made some very key changes that you might not agree with, but I think make the game more fun. Now, the biggest one, and the one I'm sure so many people are like, the hell is wrong with you? I turned off the minimap. The minimap occupied so big of a space in the corner, it blocked a lot. It also made you watch it instead of looking around in the world to get a better idea of where you should go. So for me, that completely killed any form of I just wasn't looking. I was just running to the next checkpoint. Obviously, checkpoints are still on your screen and easy to access at any given time. It just requires you to look around a little bit more. And for convenience sake, having a minimap is good, but sometimes, and for games like Cyberpunk, convenience is the enemy of the enjoyment of it. I also turned off a few of the other effects. Namely, there's one involving your aim that causes, instead of the initial movement of your gun, which makes you miss, the whole camera moves. So as you see my point, if you put your finger next to it, it doesn't actually move on your screen. The point where you're shooting is always the same spot. However, the whole camera's moving instead of the gun. I know that sounds insane, but I'm going to go change that option and show you exactly what I mean right now. I believe it was under gameplay. Weapon sway. So by default, it's on weapon. Let's look at this again. If you do that same thing where you put your finger in the middle, watch how much this moves. How do you aim with that? Like, I get what they're going for, but it causes you sit on a target and you have to compensate for the weapon moving. Instead of aiming, you're compensating for a different spot you're shooting. So what would happen is I go and I get in these gunfights and I just couldn't hit anything. It's because it's drifting. But not like it just is terrible. I hate it. This right here was the biggest change for me. Once I found this and I just was running around shooting things, the gunplay felt amazing. I was like, oh my god. Let me see if I can find somebody real quick. Oh yeah, and if you're gonna play this way, make sure you get movement changes here. Like, I have the jump, one of the jump perks, so I can get these high. Oh my gosh, being able to jump over and go to all these different places just feels so freeing, and this immersive environment. It's amazing. I spent 30 minutes just hopping around here, just having a good time. I think I killed everyone over here though. Oh, are you? No, you're just citizens. I really want to go GTA up on this. Ah! The other things I changed, well, there's no more alert sound. So the actual fights, I don't actually know if somebody's scoping me out. I need to be paying attention and looking around. Now some people might not like that, but for me, it just makes it so much better. Pardon the fact that I do no damage. This is I was messing around with guns. I haven't actually spec'd myself out completely just yet. But as you see, it's so much more accurate. You can aim now, and it's not hard to hit your shots. I don't know why that was like that before, but it killed the enjoyment for this. I couldn't aim. Why don't I play a shooter if I can't aim? And one thing to keep in mind when I'm running around is my settings are not maxed out by any means. This is toned down to run better on my game, and they have increased the performance. The performance was far better than it was before. When I started with it maxed out, I was hovering around 60 to 70. However, it was not consistent. There would be times where it would drop to 30 or 40, and that to me killed it completely. I turned several settings down, and I'll show my visual settings later too. taking his shirt off a dead man? Or is he just... No, I think he's dead. I have no idea where I'm at though. See what I mean though? Like, I would have just ran right by this stuff before, because instead of like, oh, he has a guitar pick and oh my god. But like, I just wouldn't have ran by all this. I wouldn't pay any attention to it because it wasn't the best way to do it. Okay, so to start out, looking at some settings that they have, we'll start with sound. The presets have kind of messed with a few of them. I ended up going with boost low because I think it just made things sound a little bit more balanced overall. Like, I could hear a bit of everything, and the stuff that was quiet comes up a little bit more versus the louder noises. I did also turn the music down to about 30 to like limit that, because Jesus Christ, the combat tracks are loud. I also muted detection sounds to make it so that you actually do have to pay attention. You don't know specifically when someone sees you. There's no loud, like, game-breaking noise. Kind of keeps you more in the game. Down here, I don't remember what the defaults were, but I put them both at, like, the smallest I could go, in the background opacity at 20. I do like this because I do like to read, like, what they're saying. I don't just like to hear it. It helps me to kind of understand what's going on. So I keep that all on. Over on gameplay, I have it on very hard. You play what you want, but I like the punishing nature of this and how you actually have to play tactically, or you'll get absolutely destroyed because they are like aimbots. Make sure your aim assist is off. Dear Lord, if you play on PC, I mean, if you're console, please use aim assist if it's great. But on PC, I feel like it screws with my aiming, so I just turn it off. I don't really melee combat, so you do what you wish with that one. I don't know how the aim assist works, but I would assume that, I mean, it's melee combat. You're not really looking for aiming anything. I did turn off additive camera motions. I kind of tweaked and messed with reduce, but even those, like, it's your head bob, and when you land, it changes all of that. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Like I said earlier, switching weapon sway to on camera will make it much easier to hit your shots. The rest of this, make sure you're on skip by line. I don't know. I think mine was on continuous skip when I had, like, skip by line just makes you skip to the next line instead of fast forward. So for me, that's just more familiar. In terms of graphics, there's not really much to say. Always go for setting it so it runs consistently. Not that you get like 60 frames and then it dips down to 40, because that kind of thing will just take you right out of it. But I go to try to keep it at 60 consistent. As for the actual settings that make a difference, film grain, I turn that off. This one kind of does different things with light around the edge of the screen. It's personal preference. I turn off depth of field because I don't like how that looks as much as just having a clear picture. And then I do leave lens flare on. These effects are not that bad, but if you don't like them, I mean, turn them off. It's all you. But motion blur, please turn that off. It's terrible. It hides things, which is fine, but like, it's the image clarity is gone. So I made some setting changes, and I'm going to kind of point out a few of the choices I made and kind of why I did. To be fair, it's all up to you, but all of this is trying to remove the HUD elements from the actual game world and to help you get more immersed in it. The biggest ones, threat and damage indicators, are off. That just makes it so you don't really necessarily know when people are attacking you. We did mute the combat sounds earlier, so this is the visual half of that. We also have overhead damage numbers in damage numbers mode. I turn these off because I don't want damage numbers popping up. There's already a health bar above their head, and the actual physical numbers, while I've played MMOs for years, big damage numbers, cool. I'm trying to be immersed in this game, so I took them away to kind of get to it. And what I found was behind those numbers, there was some chunking, cool-looking shot damage. It's nuts. There's so many particles hidden. I also turned off the hit indicator, so just, following up with nothing being there. Later, I do have the crosshair off, so this is part of that. It just removes the crosshair entirely. Also remove the minimap. Talked about that earlier. I think that's a really core component of all of this. So if you do nothing else, minimap being removed will help you to be more in the world. I leave all the status stuff because, you need to know those things. Hints are off. I don't really know what these were. I think they were pop-ups that kind of told you, like, what you should be doing. I'm figuring it out. That's more fun. Action buttons. I thought this was just like when you pick stuff up. No, it's your buttons at the bottom that tell you how to interact with things. I forget them all the time, so I leave them there. Feel free to turn that off. Don't this one, it probably should be this, but I'm dumb. Activity log, crosshair, job tracker. Really, these two I turn off. They're all just things on there. You know what you're doing. The indicator is still popping up in the world, so you know where you're going. If you're setting the job to track, you don't need it reminding you for 20 fucking minutes that you're gonna talk to some old lady, you know? So we turn those off. I left the Johnny Silverhand HUD elements because, you know, that's part of it. And NPC names I've left on. I don't. I'm not sure. I was going to try it with off, but it really isn't that invasive, so I've been leaving it on. It's not like it names every NPC, it's just the ones that are like the named characters. Specifically, I think that you're talking to, so. And I do want to say one more thing. Make sure you've adjusted your sensitivity. I did not before. I went all the way down to 2 before I started feeling comfortable with it. Depending on what you're using, because like, be mindful if you're using a controller and this is mouse controller. Yeah, there's also separate third person and first person. One thing I will say is when you're on your vehicles, there is a button. I don't remember what it is now, and it's not showing up on my screen. But to change to first person, it is. I think it's only with the bikes. I don't know. I don't remember. But I've been in first person with no buttons on my screen, and it is just. I don't have to tell you. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god. This is not. This is great. This is what this should have been in the first place. I have nothing on the screen. There's a quest thing telling me where to go. The thing I tracked. Just the... Like I said though, it's still Cyberpunk. What the fuck is that? Okay. Oh shit. I end up back here.
a good part of town to be driving my very expensive car that is stolen. Oh, that's so cool! God damn it! Awesome. gotta run.
Jesus Christ. What? Immersion. This looks super.
He's mine.
Dropping that light here!
Все.
Fucking coward! Hiding like a child.
Oh my fuck!